Every cancer patient has their own story, but I'm sure you will recognise elements of my story, which are made up of two parts: the surgery in 2006 and the advanced diagnosis in November 2021. I'll also share the practical supports that helped me most. Now, we've just had a fantastic presentation of what happens in the future, so this is a bit like what's happened in the past, obviously 2006 till now. So I'm really excited about what you'll be telling us, Doctor. My aim is simple: to show what my treatment looked like, what the side effects feel like, and what really helped me get through it all. In 2006, a routine medical check found a high PSA count. I was called to the surgery where I was told I would need to have some tests to see if there was a problem. Well, as you can imagine, the worrying starts, the what ifs. So all the usual tests followed: scans, biopsies and the likes, which confirmed I had prostate cancer. Then the real horror sets in. Am I going to die? When? How do I tell the children? And so on. Not a pleasant experience. The various treatment options were discussed at the time: do nothing, chemo and other types of treatment, or surgery. I chose surgery as I just wanted it all taken out, and as quickly as possible. Now, keyhole surgery was not available in Northamptonshire at the time, and choosing keyhole would have meant going to Leicester and possibly delay the surgery by weeks or even months. So I chose radical surgery. Following the surgery of the Woodlands, where my prostate and a couple of lymph nodes were removed, I spent 3 days in intensive care and 6 more days on the ward. You can see the benefits of the new technology straight away, can't you? I went home with a catheter attached and a bag full of pain relief. About 3 weeks later, the catheter came out. A few more weeks and I was driving, and then a few more and I was back at work. Very quickly, everything returned to normal. No chemo, no ongoing drugs, nothing. And I felt very fortunate as the whole memory of the cancer episode faded into the past. This part of my story shows how some cancer journeys are straightforward, but not all. In 2021, an annual health check showed my PSA count arose again, despite having had my prostate removed. I mean, what? How can that be? Well, it appears that some prostate cells remain in the body after surgery, parts of the lining or something, I don't really know. Again, I was summoned to the surgery and told more tests had to be done. Oh God, here we go again. All the same worries as last time kicked in. You would have thought it would be easier this time round, but it wasn't. How long have I got? How will the children and the grandchildren, take it, and so on. So all the usual tests followed again, and they found cancer in my lymph nodes. I now had advanced prostate cancer. That is cancer for life. Treatment began in December with a hormone injection to be repeated every 3 months for life. Starting in January 2022, I had 6 cycles of chemotherapy together with steroids during treatment to protect against infection, as chemo messes with one's immune system. I found the whole chemo experience very draining, not pleasant at all. The good news is the treatment worked. My PSA fell to 0.03 and the cancer growths in my lymph nodes shrunk. But the cost was high in terms of side effects that changed day-to-day life for me. Chemo and the hormone treatment left me with many lasting side effects. I'm on the same place, just checking. Physically, I lost all my body hair, a lot of which hasn't returned. During the chemo sessions, my nail growth stopped in my hands and feet. You could count the 6 ridges, 1 for each chemo session. And my nails became brittle and broke easily. They still do. My skin thinned and I scratch and cut more easily and take longer to scab over and heal. And of course, the hot flushes and night sweats. We must not forget those. It gives us men just a taste of the suffering women goes through during menopause. Emotionally, I found that I cried very easily, felt anxious, and occasionally had panic attacks. My brain appeared to be rewired. I could cry for England now. I've had to stop watching certain films and reading certain books that have sad bits in them, as I get very emotional and upset. I find confrontational situations bring me out in a sweat as I become anxious and upset. In fact, my body starts to shake all over. My sleep is broken, thanks primarily to night sweats, so I'm tired during the day, which only makes the fatigue worse. In the early months, I also developed brain fog, where I struggle to think straight. Sometimes I even said the exact opposite to what I meant to say, making me look a right fool when speaking with strangers and having to correct myself. Even today, if I'm anxious in any way, I sometimes find myself struggling to make decisions, something I never had a problem with in the past. Intimacy changed too. It wasn't just that the equipment stopped working, down tools so to speak, but also the desire disappeared. It was like having a light bulb go pop. Suddenly it was gone. I found this sad as I really liked sex, and after years and years and years and years of practice, I was just getting the hang of it. These overall changes made me feel unrecognizable. 18 months after chemo, I couldn't even pick myself out of a group photograph. It was true. Saying this out loud is hard but important. Treatment can control the disease while the person still needs care. I've always been a strong-willed and capable person who sorted out issues by myself. However, 1 year post-chemo, I was struggling to come to terms with the changes to my body and my mind. I realized I could not do this alone. Helena, my wife, spoke with our Macmillan nurse, Donna, who helped connect me to workshops and groups. I attended a prostate group where men shared experiences and practical tips. We had expert guest speakers giving us advice and answering questions. That group helped me understand what to expect and what worked for others. It was also a good opportunity to discuss the erectile dysfunction issue, this being a gift from our hormone treatment, and what options were available to deal with it. Not a lot really, I'm afraid. I did a 1-to-1 6-session online therapy course, which taught techniques to identify and diffuse anxiety triggers and help me understand myself better. I would recommend all adults should try such a course. It's amazing what you learn about yourself. I took the Hope 6-week course, a mixture of men and women with different cancers. Again, we had specialist guest speakers. This is a really powerful course. I found having both men and women present broadened the scope of the sessions considerably when compared to the prostate group. We learned a great deal about coping with cancer and its side effects, to find the positive things in our daily routines and focus on them, thus keeping the dark thoughts at bay. We also had a lot of laughs during the course. I would strongly recommend this course to all cancer sufferers. My wife attended a 6-session carers course that helped her recognize triggers that might set me off and to manage my anxious moments and look after her own well-being. This is something that is easily overlooked. The carer is also affected by you having cancer and is also struggling to come to terms with it and the changes cancer has brought to your lives. All of the above courses helped me greatly, especially identifying triggers and techniques to cope with them, and to try and focus on the positives more than the negatives. During the various courses, I felt very positive and continued to feel positive for some days after each session. However, once the courses were finished, I found myself gradually slipping back into the doldrums. My wife suggested, well, she insisted really, that I attend the Winter Wellbeing walk at Delapre Abbey. The first time I went, I thought that was all right, so I came back the next week. I've been going ever since. 2 years now is the highlight of my week. It's a mixed group each week of about 14 to 18 people, depending on their diary commitments. We meet every Friday at 11 o'clock and walk around the lake. At 12:30, other less mobile people join us for a walk through the walled garden. We then have tea in the orangery and lots of chatting. Delapre is a wonderful facility to have on our doorstep. The staff are friendly and the food is great. Also, the parking is free. Being with people who do not judge, who understand, and Macmillan nurses who listen, made it easy to relax, to speak openly. We talk about anything and everything: holidays, children, work, sport, all the usual things, and even cancer, as we each continue our cancer journey, and others just beginning their cancer journey join us with the thousands of questions spinning around their heads. Us older lags are often able to advise and lessen their fears. After each walk, I feel happier, stronger, and more capable. The weekly walk stops me sliding into negative thinking when I'm alone, and I've made lots of new friends. The group are like a family really, looking out for each other and supporting each other. I have found the combination of the walk, fresh air, and conversation rebuilds routine and resilience. There is a spin-off from the weekly Macmillan walk. About this time last year, while on a walk, a few of us blokes got chatting and came up with the idea of meeting up one morning for breakfast. So in February this year, 6 of us met at Morrison's in Northampton. We had breakfast together and lots of chat and enjoyed ourselves. So much so, we agreed to do it again the following month. And so, the Boys' Breakfast Club was formed. We meet one Wednesday morning each month at different venues, have breakfast and lots of chat. Afterwards, some of us then go for a walk and more chatter. We have 8 members now, some of whom are here today. Make yourselves known, lads. Get your hats there. And now, of course, we have the new Maggie Centre here in Northampton, offering support to cancer patients and their carers. Visit the centre if you haven't been there. You will be amazed. I want to acknowledge carers again. Their well-being matters. Helena's learning at the care course made a real difference in how we handle difficult moments. She also learned it was okay to give out to me should the situation warrant it, and not just bottle it up. This actually been very important to her own well-being. You might want to talk to your wife, husband, partner, carer, and suggest they speak with Macmillan about joining a carer's course. Very good courses. Okay, so here's a quick recap. Treatments cure or manage cancer, it's all pretty obvious. Side effects change everyday life, and many of us are living with that, and we continue to live it probably the rest of our lives. Support groups, therapy, and a weekly walk rebuilt my capacity. Practical tips: reach out to Macmillan Nurse as an entry point. Try a peer group for practical tips. Consider short-term therapy for anxiety tools. I was amazed at that. Do you want to speak to a shrink or whatever? It's just an incredible experience, and you do learn so much that maybe you've hidden away all your life. Incredible. Carers should join carer sessions. If you're thinking about the walk, start small. Come once and say hello. You don't have to speak about cancer. Sometimes the ordinary chat is the most healing part. Attend one of the Macmillan coffee mornings. Chat and relax and meet people. Pop into the Maggie Centre for a cup of tea and a chat. You'll find so much more when you're there. I lost a lot, not just my hair and strength, but parts of my identity. But all of the above helped me gain a new routine and a community that helped me accept the new me. Because now we are different, aren't we? Okay, you'll be glad to hear this is the last slide. So, we finished 3 practical takeaways. Clinicians treat the disease, and we have a very capable oncology team at the AGH taking care of that. In fact, they're getting more powerful all the time. Thank you again for what you're doing. It's wonderful stuff. However, the side effects that change your life also need care. You don't have to cope alone. Peer groups, therapy, Macmillan services, and now the Maggie Centre are there to help you. They certainly helped me. Finding small routines like the Friday walk and coffee mornings rebuild belonging, mood and resilience. Well, that's about it for my cancer journey so far. I mean, it still goes on clearly. I mean, are there any questions? No, I don't blame you. It just leaves me to say thank you all very much and enjoy the rest of the week.